By-elections across 12 states, Nigerians go to the polls as INEC makes finishing line preparations for smooth exercise come Saturday, August 16. We also have a conversation on the concept of the voter and the ballot. SDP candidates expect to make the list on the INEC materials following the Federal High Court's ruling, as well as World Trade Organization's Director General commends federal government for result-oriented economic reforms, but still there are some bridges to cross to bring the nation back on an even keel. We have this and more on our lineup. I'm Fisai Ogunfui. This is Political Update. Welcome. The World Trade Organization, WTO's Director General Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, has commended Nigeria's government for the outcomes of various economic reforms embarked upon are now leading to stability in the economy. The DG WTO, in company of Nigeria's Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Olajumoke Oduwole, visited the President at the State House. Dr. Okonjo-Iweala, who was a coordinating minister of the economy in Nigeria, also offered advice on the required next steps to grow the economy.
We think that the president and his team, and we just exchanged with him, have worked hard to stabilize the economy. And you cannot really improve an economy unless it's stable. So he has to be given the credit for the stability of the economy. So the reforms have been in the right direction. What is needed next is growth. We now need to grow the economy, and we need to put in social safety nets so that people who are feeling the pinch of the reforms can also have some support to be able to weather the hardship. So that's the next step. How do we build social safety net to help Nigerians cushion the hardship they are feeling? And then how do we grow the economy so we can create more jobs and put more money in people's pockets? These are issues that we discussed with Mr. President.
The head of the World Trade Body appreciated the President and the First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, for the Women Exporters Fund just launched in Abuja to support women through economic hardship.
Nigeria competed and won. One of 4 countries that won globally to be part of this new initiative. We had 67,000 Nigerian women who applied for this, and 146, can you imagine, 67,000, 146 won, and they are going to have money disbursed directly to them. 16 of them won what we call the booster track. Those who already have businesses, but their businesses will be scaled up. They will receive technical and business support for 18 months from the WTO and the ITC, and working with the ministry. So we will all work together to make sure that their businesses expand, they employ more people, they put money in their household's pocket and in the nation's pocket. Then another 100 will get directly $5,000 to scale up, to start and strengthen their businesses, again with 12 months of business support. So 146 women beneficiaries. This is just the beginning.
The fund is jointly managed by the WTO and the International Trade Center. Now going to the elections tomorrow, talking about the by-elections on Saturday, Zamfara State Office of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has distributed sensitive materials for the Kaura Namoda South State Assembly by-election scheduled for Saturday. The distribution was conducted under the watch of political parties, security agencies and other stakeholders to ensure a transparent election process.
The distribution of the election materials is part of INEC's preparation for the Kaura Namoda South State Assembly by-election scheduled to fill the existing vacancy created by the death of member representing the constituency. The materials, including ballot papers, results sheets, and other necessary items, were sorted and verified at the Gusau branch of CBN in the presence of representatives of political parties, security personnel, and other key stakeholders.
By inviting gentlemen of the press, agents of the political parties, members of the security organization, is to ensure that we guarantee transparency in the electoral process and we will ensure justice to all. That is our duty.
The by-election, which will hold in 109 polling units that cut across 6 political wards of the constituency, is to be contested by 10 accredited political parties.
In Bangawat, we have 11,622. Then Isawat, 13,504. Kagarawat, 6,544. And Kuriamada, 9,221. Then Chambarawa, 10,546. Then Sakajiki, 7,992. So far, so good. That's the material we see from Central Bank.
The election materials are to be distributed to all polling units across the constituency, as INEC says adequate security measures have been taken to ensure they reach the polling units safely and on time.
Meanwhile, the countdown to the 2026 governorship election in Osun State has officially begun as the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, pasted the statutory notice of election in all 30 local government offices and the Modakeke area office, signaling the commencement of the electoral process at an expanded engagement with stakeholders in Osogbo. The resident electoral commissioner Mutiu Adegoke said the notice follows the timetable earlier released by INEC headquarters for the August 8, 2026 governorship election in that state.
Clock has started ticking in Osun State for the 2026 governorship election. In the presence of security agencies, civil societies, and the media, INEC gave political parties notice of the election, announcing similar notice has been pasted in all the 30 local government areas and Modakeke area office of the state.
Conduct of the party primaries, including resolution of disputes arising from the primary, will start on the 24th day of November 2025 and end on the 15th day of December 2025.
INEC promises technology, transparency, and a poll where every vote counts in the year 2026.
We are going to monitor. From the experience we have had last, we would make sure we monitor local governments that we believe would violate this explanation.
Agboke says part of the electoral process of Osun governorship election is the continuous voter registration coming up on August 18.
Let's return to the by-election for Saturday now. The Independent Electoral Commission, INEC, has concluded arrangements for the by-election for Remo Federal Constituency in Ogun State. Let's have a look at the Commission's preparedness and compare it to others in other parts of the country.
8 political parties are battling for the seat of Remo Federal Constituency, necessitated by the demise of Representative Adewumi Ononuga a few months ago. The by-election to fill the vacant seat at the Federal House of Representatives is expected to hold in 3 local government areas of Shagamu, Ikenne, and Remo North in Ogun State. A visit to the Magbon office of the Independent Electoral Commission, Abeokuta in Ogun State, revealed that preparations are in top gear as early arrangements are being made to ensure successful exercise.
Yes, we are at the Magbon office of the Independent Electoral Commission in Ogun State. As we can see, the materials are being distributed as the INEC here said that they are set for the by-election in the Ogun East area of Ogun State, where the election will be coming on Saturday. These are the materials that have been distributed and will be conveyed to all the areas where the elections will take place. All the materials have been distributed. The sensitive materials also have arrived, but they will go there to the central bank to collect it and take it to the areas where the election will take place.
Also, in a related development, candidates of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, believe that they will be on the ballot papers and be voted for the by-elections holding on Saturday at the 16th of August 2025 in various constituencies in 12 states across Nigeria. A statement by the National Publicity Secretary of the SDP, Rufus Ayenigba, indicates that the Federal High Court ruled in favor of the party in a suit it filed against INEC for non-listing of its candidate in the list published by the Commission, considering the merits of SDP's arguments. The court has ordered the Electoral Commission to accept the candidates for the party for the by-elections, to publish and ensure that the names appear on the election materials for the election. We'll try to reach out to INEC to see if that is possible in terms of logistics for this exercise. But talking about the exercise and talking about our discussion, the voter and elections, joining us in the studio is the Director of Special Duties and State Operations, National Orientation Agency, David Akoji. Thank you so much for joining us as usual.
It's a pleasure, Officer Ayo. Good afternoon, viewers.
All right, another set of by-elections here with us, and they will be conducted in 12 states of the Federation. What will you make of that, and what are your expectations from the voters and the electoral umpire, knowing that these are not what, is not something that was prepared for a long time. This happened based on, the exigencies of the time, a replacement in many cases. What will be your expectation based on some of the efforts you have made in terms of, sensitizing the public?
Well, the information at our disposal is in these 12 states, we're likely to be seeing about 16 constituencies being vied for, federal constituencies being vied for. Our expectation is that INEC will see this once again as an opportunity to actually fine-tune. And from the reports that I'm seeing from states, it would appear that they are doing well thus far. Materials are arriving on time. Things are happening according to schedule. Now, we hope that this would translate into early showing up of INEC officials at the various polling units where these elections would be happening. So as for the voters, many of the political parties are again looking at this as a window to test their popularity, amongst the people in these locations. I'm glad to see that in some of the states, 8 political parties have enrolled candidates, 10 in some cases, and all of that. It shows that there's a desire to participate in the process. Now, with regards to voter turnout, we have not relented. That's the National Orientation Agency. We have continued to use all messaging platforms to get the people to understand that this is a responsibility. They cannot afford to be distanced from the process, only to come out and begin to complain when the process of governance commences. So we're encouraging good turnout in all the locations where these elections would happen. We're asking the people not to be deterred by rain or threats of violence. The security people are turning up, and they're going to do their very best to ensure that everyone who turns up to vote is protected.
All right, let's look at, permit the pun, but because it's by-election, have you been able to, discourage processes like see and buy?
Yes, we are discouraging that very strongly. We're getting people to understand that if you sell that ballot, you have in actual fact sold out 4 years of your voice of representation. Because, of course, if you sell it, you lose the moral right, you understand, to question, and to stand up and to make observations when you think things are not going the way they ought to. Vote buying and vote selling is a challenge that we have always seen at these elections. People ascribe it to various reasons. But we have consistently been telling people that if you sell that vote, you have sold out 4 years of your ability to actually question processes, procedures, and to make observations where you are not happy about the way things are going. So that vote is sacrosanct, and it is your right to determine who represents you in any of these constituencies that are in contest for this particular by-election.
All right, off-cycle elections will also take place later on. That is in Anambra State in November this year, and that of Osun State in August, as we saw in one of our inserts there. Ekiti also is online. Would you consider, what would be the features that you'll be considering as far as these off-cycle elections are concerned, as we move on to the main one, the main in 2027, especially from the perspective of the umpire and what the expectations of the voters and would-be voters have been in terms of what you have distilled from Nigerians having, traversed the country through your agency?
Elections are a time for citizens to express their feelings, about those who are representing them at various levels. We are particularly concerned at the National Orientation Agency about the unnecessary heating up of the polity with politics at this time, just 2 years into the lifespan of this administration. We strongly think that politicians should allow this government to focus on delivering on governance, and that if there's going to be conversation at all, this conversation should be around the quality of governance, interrogating what is happening now and comparing it with how it was before this government came into office, So this is what we really think. We think that it's too early to go on campaigns. And I'm talking with regards to particularly the 2027 general elections and how politicians from all over the place are heating up the polity with their conversations and their political contestations. With regards to the Osun, and the other governorship by elections. We're
Off-cycle elections.
Off-cycle elections. We're already seeing what is playing out in some of these places. We continue to preach peace. We continue to preach tolerance. And we continue to preach understanding, especially on the sides of the politicians that are projecting themselves for contest. Some of the conversations we're seeing coming out from these states that we expect the off-cycle governorship elections to happen are not very pleasant. We think that politicians can be more temperate, It is politics and elections is about contests, and it's about creating a platform for the people to make choices. And I think that this can be done without hurling insults, without threats, and then without some of the shenanigans.
So in your experience, sorry to cut you short, but in your experience, why do we have this kind of scenarios? And that, and you see that the conversations are not fueled by ideological standpoints, and perhaps in some cases, issues of track records being perhaps paraded or put it out there in the public for interrogation. Why do we have most of this verbal jousting based on perhaps, so what some might describe as just simply self-interest?
Absolutely agree with you, Fisayo. A lot of it is self-serving. We feel that people are not listening to us enough at the National Orientation Agency. Elections and political contests are not an end unto themselves. They are a means to an end. And what is the end? The end is good governance, delivering quality governance that changes the lives of people. But we have a situation where largely many of our politicians just live from election to election and see nothing in between. And that kind of scenario leaves no value and payoff for the ordinary citizens. Unless we get to that stage where we realize that election is not an end to itself. It's just a means of recruiting leaders. And that once those leaders get into position, the conversation should change. It should change to, okay, have you done this that you promised? Have you done that you promised? Why is this not happening like we expected it? We had this conversation that this government will impact on citizens in this way. How can we help you to actually fulfill your election promises? Well, largely, this is not the kind of conversations we're getting. We're hearing people saying some people will not be in office in 2027 and all of that. All those kind of conversations do not take into account the interests of the citizens, and that is sad.
All right, let's move on quickly to some other party activities before we come for your final comments. The People's Democratic Party has inaugurated its National Convention Zoning Committee ahead of the November 15 and 16, 2025 elective National Convention. Timothy Yusuf reports that the governor of Bayelsa State, Senator Doye Diri, is the chairman, while the governor of Plateau State, Caleb Muftwang, serves as secretary.
PDP elective national convention slated for 15 and 16 November 2025 was the agenda of this media briefing by the party's national spokesperson, Debo Ologoagba. Assuring that all is going well for a successful convention, Ologoagba stressed that total commitment to the party's cause is non-negotiable, as the party will rely on its constitution to ensure members remain committed to its cause.
We're not confronting, we're not fighting nobody, but we will respect our processes, we will respect our institutions, we will respect our organs, we will follow through, work together in the interest of the party work, in the interest of democracy, and in the interest of Nigeria.
Responding to questions on speculations that former President Goodluck Jonathan and the 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi are gunning for the PDP presidential ticket for 2027, the party's national spokesman reacts.
What's what they're asking is, don't running. Ask him, he's in the same mind. I don't speak for President Jonathan. You go ask him, you have access to him, I know. I know you do. So ask him. He's not coming to speculate what they do. So that's your own imagination.
About the recent conditions set by certain members of the party for the success of the November 15 and 16 National Elective Convention, Ologoagba emphasized that the PDP is about the people, not any individual.
And the Youth Directorate of the Governing All Progressives Congress APC has established a high-powered resource center for the engagement of all youth activities ahead of the 2027 election and other political developments. Political correspondent Abubakar Akwanga reports that the unveiling of the center is to galvanize massive support for the re-election of the president and success of the renewed hope agenda.
I developed a 3-year strategic plan, 2024-2027, which is now being updated to post-2027, on how we want to engage the young people. Our goal is, how do we make our party appealing to students and youth? So that guy in University of Abuja, Gwagwalada, is not looking for appointment, he's not looking for campaign. How can we make the APC appealing to those student community and those youth group communities?
The platform is also to be replicated at all Nigerian campuses and offer facility services to support groups, as well as deepen digital membership and registration, as well as ease economic and social burdens through online transactions. Before I go again, Mr. Akoji is right here from the National Orientation Agency. Just in a line, we've spent about 26 years in the Fourth Republic. In your estimation, are we maturing in our democratic activities, especially from the internal party activities, as well as the interaction with the Nigerian populace?
Well, certainly we have evolved from where we started out in this particular democratic journey in 1999. Certainly, but there's still a lot to be done. You mentioned internal party democracy. I think that all the political parties, without exception, need to work harder on ensuring internal party democracy. If within their political parties they cannot guarantee internal party democracy, there's no way they can fool some of us into believing that they would go by the tenets of democracy, whatever positions they evolve into eventually. So I think there's a lot that needs to be done by all the political parties without exception towards ensuring internal party democracy. And it is internal party democracy that would strengthen the party itself and make its followers to believe strongly in it.
Many thanks on that note. Many thanks to Director of Special Duty State Operations, National Orientation Agency, David Akoji, for coming at the short notice. Thank you for being a part of it. And for you,
thank you very much
for being a part of Political Update today. Between now and when we come your way again next week, Tuesday, play your politics for the greater good and keep it locked on Nigerian Television Authority for news, reviews, previews, and interviews. For the great watch is the NTA. Do not defect.